Welcome to Reunite with Self podcast. I'm your host, Rukan. Here, we will be discovering and unraveling what is truly holding you back. We will put the puzzle together and give you clarity on how and what you can do to create massive shifts in your life so you start creating the life you always envisioned for yourself. No more waiting. Whether it is liberating from dysfunctional family patterns or parenting tools and tips that actually make the difference, we will be diving into the truth and core of things that are simple and yet which no one talks about. I will be sharing with you all the things that would have changed my life massively if I heard any one of these episodes. A new world is awakening, and true bliss, harmony, and peace is possible on this earth, and my mission is to bring you closer to that one step at a time. In this safe space, I will hold your hand and give you courage and certainty that you can shift anything and everything in your life. It is time we break the pattern. Whether you want to be the parent you never had or make a shift in your life so you don't play small any longer, you will find the support and guidance in this space. My intention is for you to find your own answers within yourself while you listen to this podcast, so you feel the bliss of reuniting with your true essence, with self, with so much love and compassion and courage. From my heart to yours, let's keep it rocking. My gorgeous listener, welcome to another episode on Reunite with Self podcast. This is your host, Rukan. Thank you so much for being here. I am so happy that you can hear me well. I think you can hear me well now. I had a glitch with my mic this morning. I've been traveling with my mic. I don't know if it was the cable, if it's the mic itself, or something else. I'm still learning, but I just had, I was worried. But now all is well, I'm guessing. And I realized I uploaded a whole episode on the Turkish podcast with not such a great sound quality. And you're going to hear me well even in a second because my very loud AC is going to turn off. So here we are. Thank you so much for being here. Today's topic is something really important for me because this is a big part of why I see people have resistance to solving a lot of their problems in their lives. And a lot of it is, as you know, as we talk about on the podcast, a lot of it, all the limiting beliefs, all the things that, stop you, that hold you back, all the things that make you play small until now, all the things that sabotaged you, all the things that held you back in any kind of way and had you suffer for no reason and had you have experiences that you shouldn't have or held you back from things that you could have had until now. And they're all basically linked to the family stuff and the narcissistic tendencies in families, the narcissistic dynamics in certain family members. And it's very important to create clarity around this, as I talk about in the podcast so much. And what I realize from people that I just meet or people that I know for a long time, as they're about to create clarity, I've realized that what holds them back is linked to what we will talk about today so much. Before we get into the episode, I have two favors to ask from you. If you've been listening to the podcast and if you like it, if you have any takeaways, if it inspires you, if it supports you in any way, if it confirms you to some of the truths that you know, it would mean so much if you go back to the main page of the podcast and give it a 5-star and even leave a review. This would help me so much reach more compassionate souls that need this information. And I want to reach to whoever needs this information. It just makes me very emotional. It would help me a lot if you give it a 5-star. I know that you can do it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You have to go to the main page of the podcast, and there's a way that you can rate the podcast and leave us a great review if you feel like it. And the second favor is if you've been listening to the podcast, or if you've just started tuning in, I want to create a short course that will truly support you as if I am working with you one-on-one or even like in a group setting. I want to create a course that you can get and apply, like work on it anytime you want. And I would like to ask you, what should this course be called? What should this be course about, like the subject, or what should this course solve, like which of your problems? What would you want it to be about, basically? Like, what would you want this course to be about? If you know more or less of the things that we talk about on the podcast, the main thing that I want to do, but I, of course, make it sooner, the thing that you need the most now, I'm going to create a course for sure on creating clarity. This for sure I will do, but I don't know if you would want me to do a course on, first on, like, let's say you say, Rukan, like, I've figured what's happening in my family. I have, like, I can see who has the narcissistic tendency, who has been doing what in a pattern all my life, and I can see clearly what it has caused in me. And I want to know what to do about it. This might be your question. So I want to understand basically like what your main problem that you want to solve in your life around this. Because limiting beliefs comes from family. Like, they don't come from your school teacher. They don't come from your friends. They don't come from society. They don't come from social media. Like, it basically, the core reason of your self-limiting beliefs, like a lot of them are coming from family. And it's very important. I didn't want to say all of them, but almost all of them come from family. The rest might be your, like, if you believe in that, past lives, your own psyche, your ancestors. Not your, like, when I say your psyche, I think it's not even that individual to us. Like, it's always related to something in the past, like a past life, your ancestors, your family, because we all have the tendency to have the self-limiting beliefs and to fear and, go into analysis paralysis and all the things. We have a tendency for that as humans. And the things that we work on are usually the things that are related to family stuff. And so I want to ask you, you can DM me at Kevela. It's going to be in the show notes. It's always is in the show notes, by the way. Our Instagram, it's Kevela. It's like under Kevela's roof, all my work comes together. So Reunite with Self podcast is under Kevela as well. And you can DM me there. You can send me an emoji, a B emoji, and then just write like your question or like a subject, you can just write clarity on family stuff. Or you can say what to do if you have a narcissistic father. Or we can say what to do if I have a mother that has narcissistic tendency and a sister as well, or whatever it is. Or you can say, I have figured out that I have this parent with the narcissistic tendency. And also, like, I have, like, an ex-boyfriend, a relative, blah, 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 that has, like, very high narcissistic tendency as well. I have figured this out, but I just want to know, like, where to begin, like, what to do about this. You can say, like, whatever your thing is, it can be very specific or it can be more broad. This would help me so, so, so much. So whenever you listen to this podcast, to this episode, please DM me. It's going to be in the show notes, the Instagram, and you can just DM me there. It would mean so much to me. And yes, so let's get into the episode. So this is all related to our intro as well. So the self-limiting beliefs come from family stuff. And I see one of the main reasons why people have a hard time to create the clarity is because they're so scared, and because there is, like, we have idealized the the notion of family way too much. The problem is that, and I think this is all done on purpose, to control and manipulate and all the things. I have talked about this many episodes ago, and I linked it to a book that I read at the time as well. I think it was Celestine Prophecy. And what I realize is that there is a reason that we have idealized family. We have idealized these notions, the notion of family, the notion of the father, the notion of the mother, the notion of the brother and sister, or the relatives. We are just like the word itself. We have put so much meaning to it. It's like there is a gift, but there is a gifting wrap around. Present wrap, like gifting wrap, whatever. The wrap around it has too much value that we are not even in what's inside is maybe empty. Maybe there is nothing in it, but we are putting so much meaning and idealization, we idealize. I don't want to say value, because we value it because we give so much meaning and idealization to it, idealizing it because that's not what it is right now, in 3D, the life that we live in. Family is not what we think it is in society. But I think deep down, we are made to believe all this stuff because of I don't know, it's this power over the people. It's one of the main things that we are controlled, basically. But I don't know what's deep in it, but it's just a feeling that I have, because family is what holds you back. What holds you back lies in the family, but it's such a taboo subject. It deeply is a taboo subject. Even people that have the extreme stories are able to talk about it maybe a little bit more. But if the society does not call it as an extreme story, but it actually is an extreme story because it has nothing to do with the idealized family that we talk about or we think about. And that is the reason that people are held back. And I heard this from a Turkish guy that I listened to a week ago, and he put it so well. He was talking about, he does family constellations, and he was talking about idealizing the family way too much. And this is why it's very important to letting go of our loyalty to victimization. Victimization was the word that comes up with the Turkish word. The Turkish word is actually not exactly victimizing, to be a victim. That's a different word. But it doesn't mean that you think you are the victim or you're playing the victim. The moment that you let go of the ideal of family, and the moment that you decide you are not going to be addicted or you're not going to be loyal to be a victim of whatever, air quotes, family is the moment that you start liberating yourself and you can actually start your self-actualization journey. It's our incredible passion to hold on to our loyalty, to continue being a victim of the narcissism in family or in relative relations, family in a bigger term, or just the family, the home that you come from. It's our incredible loyalty to be a victim of this narcissistic tendency is the reason that we cannot create the clarity and start our self-actualization journey. It takes so much courage, strength, honesty, really coming from a really pure heart, meaning that you are really, really compassionate with yourself, like really honestly fair to yourself, as if you would to a family member that you love, that you see what had been happening, what someone had been doing all your life, and maybe in like bigger volumes in times that you don't remember right now, what had been happening in a pattern and what it actually had been causing in your life. Like, what is the true effect on how you live your life, what you believe in yourself, how you like what you think about yourself, how you had been taking the actions, how you had not been taking the actions, how you have been sabotaging yourself, how you have been actually not believing in yourself or playing small and being scared of success or all of that stuff. It's the moment that you realize that the idea of family is actually not what it is, that you stop hoping for things to change just because you are hoping that it would, or that you are like, you keep silent and just wait so that he will change, she will change, things will change, things will feel different. It's letting go of the loyalty of sacrificing oneself as a victim that will help you start living your best life and start your self-actualization journey. Because if you don't let go of this loyalty to being a victim, and you know what you are being a victim of with the narcissistic people in your family, in your big circle. If you don't, the costs are too high that you can't afford. This is what I realized after my 2 near-death experiences, like back to back, as I had an accident. I realized that like I had a moment where, I had the clarity. I talked about this before a couple of times. I had a moment that like, it was in a moment that I had the clarity, and it was maybe one of the most challenging moments of my life. But I had a face-to-face with someone, and I just, in that moment, as like I was crying, I was miserable, I was like emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally, I was broken. I thought that I had no more in me, is when I created the clarity. And that took me to come to terms that no, actually family or whatever notion, mother, father, family, a brother, sister, uncle, aunt, cousin, whatever, like whatever your relative thing is, like whoever has a narcissism in your family, like it's just an idealized idea of something. It's not what the actual experience is right now. Like, I wish we did have that, but there's a reason that we don't. And one of the reasons that we don't is I know that like true bliss, harmony, and peace is possible on this earth plane. This is my deepest why when I go like 7 levels deep. This is my deepest why of like why I'm creating this podcast or why I'm going to create my first course and everything. I know it is possible. And the only way is to first allow ourselves to understand that we are worthy of it, that anything that is not love should not be waited upon. Hoping that things will change and patiently waiting for something is not actually
where there is lack of love because you are saying no to yourself. I actually want to do a challenge with you. I am thinking of doing this. I thought of this yesterday. I want to do a challenge because about saying no and around this stuff as well. I'm going to think about it. I don't want to give too much stuff around what we will do together on the episode, but I want to do a challenge for us to understand because we always have a reason why we should say no to something. My magnetism is magnified when I say no, not when I say yes. The things that I want to say yes to comes to me when I have the guts to say no to things that no longer serve me, that I really don't want to do, that I really don't want to see that person. I don't want to spend time with that person or whatever it is. When I say no or reply to something that is hurtful in a different way is when I am magnified. So the costs are high if we don't let go of our passionate loyalty to victimizing ourselves in the name of love to the notion of family, because family is not what we are taught. We are taught that idealized version of family for a reason. And the reason is not that we create that right now. The reason is not we are not given that idealization because we are able to create that. No. What stops you in the beginning is why we have this idealized version of family instead of seeing things clearly as a clear-headed, centered person with a calm nervous system. It's what keeps you in that fight, flight, freeze, fawn expression. What keeps you in that mode is what happened with the family. So let's just be honest about it. Let's just understand that if you have a good heart, you have a compassionate, highly sensitive, if you're a highly sensitive, highly compassionate, highly empathetic person, you know that you have a good heart. And saying no to something that is basically taking your life away from you, taking your power away from you for nothing is not love. And you can say no to that and remember that you have a pure heart and what you are doing is love when you can say no to these things in a very, very, very honest and fair way. If it's not something that you would do to the other person, you shouldn't let that person do that to you, especially given the circumstances and given the roles. An adult should be an adult when they have a child. It's their, they are the adult. They are the older. They are the responsible. They should be the one that has the emotional maturity 100%, or they should be willing to do that, or they should be willing to repair. They should be willing to be accountable for everything they might have caused and all the things. So I'm just putting these examples so that it might, answer a question that you may have that might be sabotaging you. So if it doesn't feel right, it's not right. If what someone is telling you, it makes you want to shrink, it makes you want to, be smaller, then what they're saying is not the truth. So it's time that we let go of the idealization of family. Family can be that great thing once we start healing ourselves and once we have these great, healthy boundaries. I love you so much. Please let me know about what topic you would want me to do the course on. You don't need to get the course, but I just want to understand, what would be a course that you would see and be like, that's what I want to solve in my life. It would help me so much. Thank you for being here. I am so grateful that you are here, and I will see you shine your brightest. See you next week.
My gorgeous listener, if you had any takeaways from this episode or from this podcast in general, I would love to know. Please share this episode with a few loved ones right now. You never know how they can benefit from something so small. And please take a screenshot of this episode and share on IG, tagging me at Kevela, that is KHEWELLA, Kevela. That is my goddess wear brand, my Instagram page. I would love to know what your takeaway was, or something you found inspirational, or a confirmation you believe in as well. That would make my day. And you can always DM me if you have a topic or a certain question in mind that you want me to talk about. And give me a 5-star rating if you feel like it. That would help this podcast immensely to get the word out. I love you. See you on the next one. I want to see you shine your brightest.